I'll be presenting my screen now. Is it visible to you?
Miss Kala.
Okay. So good morning to all. Do you remember where we stopped last class? Anyone? Which topic we were discussing last class? Forgot everything? So we were discussing about simulators and debuggers. We have completed simulators and emulators, and we were discussing about the last section of fourth module, and that is debuggers. Okay. We were discussing about firmware. Okay, yes, firmware debugging techniques. Very good. So we have completed some of the techniques. So I will just go through it once again. So as we know, debuggers are programs which are used to find out bugs in other programs. And debuggers, we have discussed the functionalities of debugging, mainly three functionalities, that is diagnosing the firmware execution, then monitoring the target processors registers, and checking for signals. These were the three main functionalities, and we classified debugging process into two, that is hardware debugging and firmware debugging. Since embedded systems comes as a combination of both hardware and firmware, we have to check or we have to debug both the hardware as well as firmware. So for debugging hardware is called hardware debugging, and debugging the firmware or the software part of the embedded system is called firmware debugging. So we have discussed all these in the last class, and we said there is a debugger program used to find errors in other programs. And this debugger program, it allows the programmer to stop at certain points and examine the values of registers or variables, and we can even change the values of variables and examine the output. So these debugging tools, they come with the IDE itself mostly, and now the debugging tools can be classified into two: firmware debugging and hardware debugging. And the tools, we call it as techniques. And firmware debugging techniques, we have discussed around three firmware debugging techniques. And the first one was incremental EEPROM burning technique. Incremental EEPROM burning technique. And in this technique, we divide the entire firmware into small functional code units and test each code unit one at a time. And when all code units have been tested, the entire code unit is burnt into the chip, and then it is cross-compiled and finally tested. And the entire module is firmware is tested, and then it is once it's working correctly, it is then plugged into the target board, and the entire system is retested. Now, in this process, it is a time-consuming process, but once the process is correct, once the firmware is found to be functionally correct, it can be sent for mass production. So that is first method. We have discussed it in the last class. Now the second method. Can you hear me? Hello? Hope you can hear me. If there is any interruption, please inform. Okay. Hello? Ashwadi? Okay. So next technique for firmware debugging is inline breakpoint based firmware debugging technique. We have discussed it in the last class. We have said an example, like when we are writing a C program, and if the program is not working correctly at certain points, we insert certain statements into the program. Like if I want to find out the value of a variable at a particular point in the C program, I just write a printf statement to print the value of that variable. And after running, I will get the value of the variable on the screen. I can check if it is correct or if it is something is wrong. So like that, here also in the firmware debugging, in inline breakpoint based firmware debugging technique, we can insert code into certain checkpoints, and it is a primitive method, as I said earlier. It can be used in any programming language, and here we can insert debug codes into specific checkpoints. And the debug code example is the printf function can be inserted, and if it is in embedded C, you can insert the printf function, and then you can cross compile the source code. Once the source code is cross compiled after inserting the debug code, you will get the output in the monitor, in the terminal. So before that, you have to do all these processes. You have to burn it into the EEPROM, power up the target board, and then find out the output, and then watch the output. So this is the second method, inline breakpoint based firmware debugging. Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Okay. So we can you see the screen, Ashwini? Okay. So the third method was monitor program based firmware debugging, and instead of directly accessing the code, there is another program called the monitor program. It acts as a supervisor, and we give inputs to this monitor program, and the monitor program will communicate with the firmware and collect the values that we need. Like it controls the downloading of the user code into the code memory, and it will inspect the values of registers. And if we want to modify, we can modify the registers, and it allows us to single step through the source code. That is, you can move one line at a time, one instruction at a time, and see the value of the registers. And this monitor program, it is burnt into the flash memory or the ROM of the target board, and it is called the monitor ROM. The ROM into which the monitor program is burnt in is called the monitor ROM. And once this program is initiated, it will examine our firmware, and it will find out the values of the registers, and it helps us to stop in between and then examine the value of the registers. So this is a monitor extra program that we add to the target board, and that's called the monitor program. Then this was the third technique for firmware debugging, and next we have two more techniques. The fourth one is in-circuit emulator ICE based firmware debugging. In-circuit emulator ICE based firmware debugging. So,
This is criminal.
I think it goes off automatically. Connection problem. Now, can you see the screen? Okay. Okay, Amruna. So the fourth technique is in-circuit emulator ICE based firmware debugging. That is, here you have an hardware emulator. You know, hardware emulator, it is a device that can be used instead of the target board, and instead of the actual target board, this emulator access the target board, and this helps in the debugging of the firmware. Instead of using the actual target board, the emulator hardware, which is controlled by a debugger application running on the PC, will help us to find out the errors in the firmware. So if we want to check the firmware in the target board, instead of using the actual target board, we plug in another device called the ICE, that is in-circuit emulator, and then we can check the program, the firmware can be checked using this emulator. So this development, the application, debugging application here comes as a part of the IDE that we are using. So this is one method, that is using a hardware emulator to check the firmware, and this hardware emulator is called in-circuit emulator, or ICE. That is one technique. Then the fifth technique is on-chip firmware debugging. On-chip firmware debugging. Here the on-chip means this chip refers to the processor or the microcontroller that we are using, and there is a built-in module incorporated into the processor or the target controller, or the microcontroller, and it is called on-chip debugger, or OCD. So certain processors or microcontrollers, they come with the debugging module, embedded with the debugging module, and that is called on-chip debugger, or OCD. And this OCD also provides a means to set breakpoints. Any debugging tool, it helps us to set up breakpoints and find out the internal values of registers or memory locations. So because we want to find out what is going wrong, and most of the values after computation will be stored either in registers or in memory location. So by examining these values, we can find out if there are errors in the program. So to find out these errors, we need to set up certain breakpoints, and it is the debugging tool that helps us to set up breakpoints and examine the values of registers and memory locations. And so any debugger that we use, it helps us to check the values of or the internal state of the processor, like the flag registers or other general purpose registers that we are using in our program. So in on-chip firmware debugging, since it comes with the processor will have its own registers, and apart from those registers, the on-chip register has its own dedicated registers for debugging. So this is the last method for firmware debugging. So is it clear to you? We have discussed around 5 techniques for firmware debugging. Okay. Hello. Is it clear to you? We have discussed around 5 techniques for firmware debugging. Can you repeat the techniques? Just type in your chat box what were the techniques. Anyone? Hello? Nobody is responding. Are you sleeping? Answer. Are you present here? Answer. Okay. Can you name any one of the firmware debugging techniques which we were discussing now? Any one firmware debugging technique? That means you're not listening? Okay. Yes, sir, that was firmware debugging techniques. Can you name any one of the firmware debugging techniques? We were discussing about firmware debugging techniques, but I am asking you the name of any one of the techniques that we had discussed now. See, the first technique, I think in the initial class I've told you to write down the main points, isn't it? And nobody is writing anything. So, See, the first technique is incremental EEPROM burning technique. Incremental means we are burning module by module at a time, or we are dividing the entire code into small functional units, and each functional unit is tested one at a time. So, this process of testing part in parts is called incremental method, and incremental EEPROM burning, that is burnt into an EEPROM and then it is tested. That is incremental EEPROM burning technique is the first technique for firmware debugging. Then the second technique is inline breakpoint based firmware debugging. Inline breakpoint. Inline means we are inserting codes in between, and these codes act as breakpoints in our firmware, and we can insert debugging codes into the original program and test the program. So that is inline breakpoint based firmware debugging. Then third method, I said that instead of directly testing the program, we use another program called the monitor program, and this monitor program will directly interact with the firmware and find out the contents of the values of the registers and memory locations that we had used in the firmware. And that is called monitor program based firmware debugging. And then usually this monitor program is burnt into the flash memory, and that is called monitor ROM. Then, in the fourth technique was in-circuit emulator, ICE, in-circuit emulator based firmware debugging. I said here that instead of the target hardware, we can use an emulator, a target emulator, and this emulator will help us to test the firmware. Then fifth technique was on-chip firmware debugging. That is, certain microprocessors or controllers, they have built-in for debugging module, and this module helps us to check the contents of the or debug the firmware. So these were the 5 techniques used for firmware debugging. Okay, is it clear now? How many techniques were there? How many techniques were there? 5. Okay, can you name any one? Any one technique? Okay, incremental E from burning technique, then okay, thank you. Okay. So now let us move on to hardware debugging techniques. Target hardware debugging. Here also, it is very simple. Target hardware debugging means we are testing the hardware components on the on the target board. We have to test the components on the target board. Here we are not focusing on the software or firmware part. We want to find out if all the components that we have integrated into the target board is working fine. So the various techniques or various tools, the various hardware debugging tools that we use in embedded product development are, first of all, you need a magnifying glass or lens. What does this magnifying glass or lens do? You have seen the lens, isn't it? The magnifying glass. If you want to see minute objects, you use the the magnifying lens, and it is a powerful visual tool for inspecting the surface of the target board. As we know, on the target board we have different different components integrated together, and there are very minute components integrated into the target board which you cannot see easily with your eyes. So we can use a magnifying glass to find out whether all components are soldered properly, and you can find out the missing components, then improper placement of components, then improper soldering, then if there is any track damage, etc., or short circuit of the tracks, you can find out using this magnifying glass. Okay, it is just a lens to enlarge, which helps us to enlarge and see the target board. So that is magnifying lens or a glass. It is a device which helps us to view the components, minute components on the target board, and to check if the components are placed properly or if there is any problem on the tracks, etc. So magnifying lens is one component that we use for hardware debugging. Then second is hello. Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hello, Ashwati, can you see the screen? I think there was some problem in connection. Can you see the screen? This presentation might go off, okay? So please let me know. So, till where did you hear? Till which point did you hear? Anyone? Did you hear magnifying lens? Okay, okay, thank you. So, magnifying lens, then the second device is multimeter. Multimeter, I think you have used it in digital lab and all. Have you used it in your digital lab or electronics lab, this multimeter device? To check the voltage and all? Hello? Have you seen this multimeter? There is a device called multimeter. It helps us to check the components. Yes, okay. So it is used for measuring various electrical quantities like voltage, current, resistance, capacitance, etc. We can find out the values of these devices. Now, what are the output using this multimeter? It will show us the voltage level, current level, then the resistance values, capacitance, etc. of devices of small components used in the used for building electronic devices, and it is a primary debugging tool for physical contact based hardware. That is, you can check the components individually by directly connecting it to these components. So that is multimeter for checking the various signals. These are the quantities that we usually check, like the voltage, current, resistance, capacitance, etc. Then the third component is the digital CRO. Have you seen the digital CRO? Have you used the CRO? Digital CROs. Have you seen the CROs? Amal Santosh, Abhilash, have you seen CROs? No response. Harita, okay, okay. Now, what do you see in a CRO? What do you get in that CROs? In CRO? So most of us have used digital CROs in labs, electronics labs. That is, it is used for waveform capturing. You can see the different kinds of waveforms generated, like the square wave, sine wave, etc. Mostly, we need to examine the output. We examine the output using CROs, and it is used for waveform capturing and analysis, also for measuring the signal strength, etc. So, since our hardware device has to be checked, we are giving in different input signals. We have to find out whether the signals are reaching the target board properly. So, in order to test these signals, we use the digital CROs. Then the fourth hardware debugging tool is the logic analyzer, and this is also used for capturing digital data. It captures digital data from a digital circuitry. Logic analyzer captures digital. Here you can check any type of waveform, and here this captures digital data. And digital data means the data, there is zeros and ones are the digital data, and it can capture. So since captures digital data, it will check the values of the various ports. That is, we get zeros and ones in our ports. So these values are then address bus, data bus, etc. They carry the zeros and ones. So digital data, they are carrying digital data. So to check the digital data, to test digital data, we use logic analyzer. Okay, then the last one, we use function generators. Function generators, they are capable of producing various periodic waveforms. Like if we want to give an input in certain waveforms as input to the target pole, then we can simulate those waveforms using the function generator. And these waveforms, it includes a sine wave, square wave, sawtooth wave. You might have seen all these waves, I think, sine wave, square wave, sawtooth wave, etc. And you can give it with different frequencies and amplitudes, and these are the input signals to this. These signals, they act as input signals. Okay, so function generator is used for simulating input signals, and they can produce various periodic waveforms like sine wave, square wave, etc., sawtooth wave, etc. And we can even test it at different frequencies and amplitude, and hence it is an input signal simulator. Function generator is an input signal simulator. Okay, so these are the 5 different target hardware debugging tools. That is, you have the magnifying glass or the lens for viewing the minute components embedded on the target board. Then there is the multimeter for measuring various electrical quantities like voltage, current, resistance, capacitance, etc. Then you have the digital CRO for checking the waveforms, or for capturing the waveforms and analyzing it. Then it also help us to measure the signal strength. Then you have the logic analyzer for capturing the signal strength and analyzing it. Then hello. Okay, now can you hear me? Hello. Okay, okay. So you have the logic analyzer for capturing digital data, and the digital data we can examine in the various ports, input-output ports. They carry zeros and ones, then the address bus, data bus, etc. We can examine the digital data in here and using the logic analyzer. And finally, you have the function generator, and this function generator, it is an input signal simulator. Okay. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Okay. So finally, we have the function generator, and it is capable of producing various periodic waveforms like a sine wave, square wave, etc. And we can change the different, we can examine these signals by giving input at different frequencies and amplitudes, and this is an input signal simulator. So these are the 5 components that helps us in hardware debugging. So can you name the components that we have discussed now? Can you name the components we have discussed right now? Yes, magnifying glass or lens, then multimeter. Yes, multimeter, then Third one, digital CRO. Okay, digital CRO. Then fourth one, for examining digital data. Logic analyzer, yes, logic analyzer for examining digital data at various ports and address and data bus. Then finally, function generator. Yes, very good. Function generator. And this function generator is an input signal simulator. It helps us to give an input to the target board and examine the values, examining the functioning of the target board. And this input simulator can give in different waveforms at different frequencies and amplitudes. So these are the hardware debugging tools. Okay, is it clear to you? Hello? Okay, so we have come to the end of module 4, and if you have any doubts in this module, you can ask. If you have any doubt in this fourth module, you can ask. So in this module, just an overview, we were discussing the integration and testing of embedded hardware and firmware, and we had embedded firmware debugging, firmware techniques, firmware embedding techniques for OS-based and non-OS-based embedded systems. And in firmware embedding techniques, we had for non-OS-based embedded systems, we have studied four techniques: out of circuit programming, in system programming, in application programming, and use of factory program chips. And then we discussed, after that we discussed the drawbacks. Okay, after discussing the techniques, we started the embedded system development environment, the components of IDE, what is IDE, the types of IDE, then the components of IDE, then we have the cross-compilation process, cross-compilers, cross-assembling. Then this is another essay question, type of files generated during cross-compilation. You have to study each file, the contents of each file, that is 5 kinds of files generated during cross-compilation. And then we came to the last section, simulators, emulators, and debuggers. Okay, well, we said what is a simulator, what is an emulator, and then debuggers. There are debugging tools for both firmware and hardware, and what are the firmware debugging techniques, and what are the hardware tools used for debugging. Okay, is it clear? Hello, is it clear? Okay, so I had shared one folder with you. Did you see that? I shared it to your group mail. Did anyone see that folder? Did anyone open and see that folder? I had shared it to your group mail, I think 1 week back. Okay, Amruda. I had given all the modules, I think module 1 to 5, 6, the textbook contents are there, and also the entire textbook, 2 textbooks were also there in that folder. One is Shibukevi textbook, and the other is Vaini Wolf, isn't it? 2 textbooks, and the contents of these textbooks for all the 6 modules are there. If anyone want to refer or read the textbooks, you can go to that folder and read the textbooks. And also, but all the notes which I had written for you is from these textbooks only. So I think you can easily study with the help of notes. Is there any problem with those notes? Do you find it any difficult to read those notes? If you can't understand any word, just ask me, okay? Just tell me the page number and I can help you. Okay? Is it clear? One more textbook is there, that is for the next module, 5th module, that is Raj Kamal. That module 5 is entirely taken from Raj Kamal. The Vaini Wolf covers module 1 and module 6, half of module 6. The module 5 is in Rajkamal and the rest of the modules are in Shibu KV. So there are 3 textbooks that you should refer. If you want to do extra reading, you can go to these textbooks and you can read out. If you can't understand anything in that note, or you can ask me directly if you don't understand anything. Okay. So next module, 5th module is the most lengthy module among all the modules, but you might have studied most of the techniques like scheduling techniques in operating system. Did you study scheduling techniques in operating system like round robin scheduling, shortest job first scheduling, priority scheduling and all? Okay, and did you do any problems on those? Round robin scheduling, priority scheduling, problems on those scheduling techniques? Okay, once or twice they had asked the problems. So we have to go through they are simple questions. I think you might know that to calculate the turnaround time, waiting time of the process and all, average waiting time and all. Do you remember all that? In operating system? So we'll just go through those sections in module 5. So if you have any doubt or if you want to solve more problems, you can come to me during the assignment hour or remedial hours. We can discuss. Okay. Okay. So now, please say your attendance. Number 1. Okay. Number 2, Abhinav. Number 3. Number 5. Number 6. Number 7. Number 8. Number 9. Number 11. Number 11. Atul Satyavan. Absent. Number 12. Okay. Number 13. Number 14. Number 14. Jason. Absent. Number 16. Number 17. Number 18. Number 20. Number 22. Number 22, Sharad PV. Absent. Number 23, Sarga. Number 24. Number 26. Number 27. Number 28. Number 29. Number 30. 31. 32. Number 32, Didina. He was present, I think. Okay. Number 33. Harida. Number 33. Okay. Number 3, Amal Santosh. Okay. Absentees number 11, 14 and 22. Thank you.